What's up, Digidestins? This is Kyle D, better known as RideMyAvatar, and today we're gonna be opening up, Vortex and Fairy Tail. So I'm kind of really excited to open up these starter decks to talk about them. I got my hands on them. I know I wanted to do a video over the weekend, but craziness and shit happens. I got some other things I want to do and try coming format, but without further ado, let's dive in the video and talk about it. So, Fable Waltz is one of the more ones that I wanted for a set. I love fairy tales in all generalization. This is very awesome to have, but we also have the Vortex. So let's take a look at what you kind of get in this product, because that's like half the fun, right? Right. So let's open it up and find out, shall we? So we have, you get a playmat. Both of them come with a decent size paper playmat, which, I mean, for a lot of players, they do enjoy these kind of things, is having a small playmat they can use. It has Shumon and then its final evolution, Cinderellamon. The same thing with Vortex, but it also comes with a lot of information on cards you need for the game, preparation for the game, turns on how they order, cost of memory, efficiency, explaining the memory gauge, and then it gives the attack orders, block timing, counter timing, and battle. So all that is vitally important when it comes down to Digimon. So we take a look at that. We have some decent value to take into consideration, but let's see what you kind of get in the starter deck itself. You get 4 Digitama eggs, which is Kairumon. So it has a when attacking, if you have another Digimon, draw a card. Very efficient draw card. Black doesn't get that treatment very much, but I like that we have access to this card. Then we have 4 Junkmon itself. So it does have the decoy puppet trait, so this helps protect your guys, and it has barrier as well. So not bad. Being able to have a small guy that can just say, hey, if you're targeting my shit and you're trying to pop it, at least I get to keep it on board. So not bad. It helps give small protection through that. Then we have Shumon itself. On play, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. Add 1 card with puppet trait and 1 card with liberator trait among them to your hand. Return the rest to the bottom of the deck, and then all your opponent's security Digimon gets minus 3000 DP. Very common trait on all Digimon here. You only get 2 of this, so this is where you're going to need a second starter deck to kind of just get yourself where you need. But the on play, being able to search the puppet, is actually very useful for this deck because you need to search. Then we do have Pawn Chessmon. So Pawn Chessmon, a lot of players are going to try to test, and again, there's a big fan base for the chess pieces, and new chess pieces are always welcome. The reboot inheritable is always useful, just because this makes it less likely your opponent can swing into your dude, so they have to use effects to remove it. But the fact that it's on play, trash 1 card from your with puppet and traits in your hand to draw 2 is quite useful for a deck like this, because you want to draw and get to your pieces as soon as possible. It requires that draw advantage at all times. Then you have another Pawn Chessmon. This is the Black Knight version. So the dark on the evil side, as you can tell, they go with black yellow, and that one's yellow black. So, and it's also a white piece, and this is the black pieces. But it has blocker, and then on deletion trash does the same thing. Instead of an on play, it's a on deletion draw a card, draw 2 cards. So it's not a bad filter. I wish it kind of used a little bit more of its trash if it's going to do this, but that is just what it's going to do. Then we kind of got the big meme boy here, but we got Digimon. So on play, on deletion, give one of your opponent's Digimon a security attack -1 until the end of their turn. That's actually quite useful. It combos nicely with effects that make it so that if they have a security attack of any sort, you can punish them a little bit. This makes it so they can't go for game against you on certain things, and if you can build up a certain stack, pretty solid. Then we have Turbo Catmon. So Turbo Catmon is just a jammer, and then it's got barrier. I mean, it's not a bad for its costs and stats. A 5 cost you know, to evolve on a 3/4/4 cost. It definitely power crept a little bit of the old jammers because now it has an inheritable, but I think it's not bad for a level 4 jammer. Then we do have 2 of the super rares. Shushumon. Security, you may play 1 Liberator trait with a play cost 4 or less from your hand or trash without paying its cost. This is where the kind of trash is being fundamentally used, because then you can use get your Rizas or Rizas, and then basically any of your Shumons kind of back onto the board. It's got an overclock puppet trait, so this is the keyword that we're really looking for here. Overclock at the end of the turn by deleting one of your tokens or other puppet traded. This Digimon may attack a player without suspending. All your opponent's security Digimon get minus 3000 DP. So this helps out puppet just being able to attack, you know, as long as you can. I mean, a second attack is always good. Remember, you can't double stack overclock. After one attack has gone through, the rest fizzles. So just keep that in mind. Then we do have Pandamon at a full play set. Pandamon's pretty interesting here. It is a blocker, and then on deletion, play a level 3 with puppet from your hand without paying its cost. It's kind of cool that they went like from a non-tribal aspect to a full tribal aspect within like a set. Then we have Exa Tyrannomon. So this is an armor Digimon. It kind of armor purges. It digivolves on top of Tyranno or Raremon in its name for 3 costs. It's a Digicross with Tyranno and Raremon, and 1 level 4 puppet trait. And it's got barrier. I mean, it's a cool card. You're not really going to be playing this. This card is kind of just one of those first fodders that come out. Then you do have 2 Chaplomon. So this card is a rare, but on play, when digivolving one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 3000 TP for the turn, and if you have 3 or more Digimon, it further gets 3000 DP, so it can minus 6000 DP. But all turns when this Digimon would leave the battle area, other than by your effect, delete one of your tokens or other puppet traits, it does not leave. So this kind of gives you the protection skill outside of barrier that you kind of want, because Cinderellamon needs that little bit of sticking power just to be consistently strong. Then we have 2 Cinderelle. It's got the overclock trait. We've already talked about this, but blocker. When digivolving, you may play 2 familiar tokens. These tokens are yellow, 3000 DP. On deletion, one of your opponent's Digimon gets 3000 DP for the turn. So kind of good, nasty little removal buggers that we kind of want to have access to. Then we have Shinmamze as well. Shinmamze at 4. It's an armor Digimon, but on play, when digivolving, by placing 1 level 5 or lower with Nume in its name or a puppet trait from your Trash's bottom Digivolution card, recovery 1. I think this has some potential. I know it doesn't see much play. I think it could be a nice little one-of tech, but I mean, hey, it's an armor purge that from a level 6 back to your level 5, so you can digivolve back into your Cinderelles. But, you know, it's kind of cute. It's good for a starter deck. Then we do have 4 Arizas. You know, it's your mem setter, and then one effect plays any of your tokens or puppets Digimon by spending this name, or one of your Digimon gains rush. So this is where your aggression happens, especially if you want to get your Cinderelles to be able to attack this twice, is really nice. Then we have the Noble Family Arts. Basically, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 6000 DP for the turn, and then 3 of your opponent's Digimon, if you have 3 or more, gets another 6000 DP. So this thing for a 5 cost possibility, it is really nice. And the condition is just having if there are 3 or more Digimon on the board. So being a 5 cost minus 12 is really good. And then the only big gripe that a lot of players have is this thing is not foiled. I mean, it's not a bad memory boost. It would have been really cool for a foiled, but you know what the memory boost does, right? Now, let's see what you kind of get for the trainings. So you get a full playset of trainings as well. Alternate arts, though, that's really what I like. A lot of them are cool looking, and I think that's really the big selling point here. Originally, I remember correctly, was like this one was foiled, this one was foiled. Like these weren't I think these weren't foiled and these were foiled. Like in the starter decks, they made it for JP was half of them came foiled, half of them didn't. So if you wanted foils across the board, you would have had to buy a metric fuck ton of these starter decks, to be straight honest. But with that, now we kind of got them as all foils, which is really nice, and I like that a lot. And hopefully once JP and us are completely on the same page, they kind of get the same fair treatment. But all the trainings look nice, don't they? And then you also get a huge thing about keywords, and that's vitally important because now it kind of explains stuff, and a lot of players had trouble with keywords sometimes. Next, though, we do have the Guardian Vortex starter deck. Let's open this puppy up real quick, and then we'll go from there. Guardian Vortex is the main lead's Digimon, and this is Shoto's main Digimon, and it doesn't want to come out. Why? Okay. So, it comes with the playmat, as I said. It looks pretty cool. It's got the same thing as Cinderellamon, where it's Zephyga, and it should have Pitero, or Teromon, and yeah. So, really cool. Very solid playmat. It's paper. You ain't going anywhere crazy with it. So. Wow, he's got glasses on now. Okay, small transition here, but let's get into the starter deck itself for the Vortex. So first off, we have Fluffmon, because Fluffymon here is cute as a button. I love the little yoke, and I love the bird aesthetic. It's kind of cool. So you may suspend one other Digimon as much or less DP as this Digimon. Really good effect. Being able to, when attacking, suspend something is really useful, especially because you get to combo it with your Vortex skills. But not a bad little inheritable. So I think it's pretty cool. Then we have Biomon, green one with Fortitude, actually. Kind of funny because this basically makes it so that you Digivolve for one and you can get in with an extra attack in and then still have some little guy to work with. I mean, at the end of the day, you're going to work with what you got, right? Then you have 4 Falcomon with, when attacking, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. It's not a bad skill. I kind of wish they kind of gave it the on play as well, so that it gave you an option over the promo. Yes, you want to use Pteros and your Teromons, but to use Falcomon here as a one attacker is a little more strenuous than its normal counterpart. I kind of wish it just was an on play avian. So we have Teromon. As you guys like to say it, I say Pitero, but I think it's cuter to say Pitero. But I know it's Teromon. So on play, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. Add 1 card with avian or bird trait. Any of its traits and 1 card with Vortex or Liberator trait among them to your hand. Return the rest of the bottom. So really powerful, good searcher, and then it gives a boost in your turn. So extra DP damage threshold is especially important for the Vortex deck because you want to climb over things. So that's vitally useful. Then you have Muchomon. So Muchomon is your bud all turns. One effect suspends this Digimon. One of your Digimon with avian or bird in any of its traits or Vortex traits gets plus 3000 DP until the end of turn. And then it gets piercing. Not a bad little level 3. The piercing is really nice to have because it gets extra damage in, because then you can trade in nicely and trade up. And then you do have Kiwimon for its on play, on deletion, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. It's not a bad trade-off. It's also a vegetation, so this is definitely Bloom Lord levels of I love it. So definitely what we kind of want to see, right? Right. So we're going to play this in both kind of versions of the deck. I think it's very useful. Then we have Kokatorimon or Kokatorimon. So it's a blocker and it has piercing. Not a bad little trade-off. A little bit of DP boost thresholds and piercing. I mean, if it was more like a Jagras-based deck, these DP boosts would be fantastic. Excuse me? There is no way I'm missing a Galemon. Okay, Galemon went hiding. So first off, we have Galemon. This card comes out, does the security shenanigans. So if it's hidden security, it plays a Liberator, you know, trait with a play cost 4 or less from your hand or trash, similar to Shumon. And then you have Vortex here as the keyword. So this is the first time you're getting introduced to it. I know the promos introduced as well, but at the end of your turn, the Digimon may attack an opponent's Digimon. With this effect, it can attack the turn it's played. Really nice, especially if they're suspended, you can get in for damage, but it's only good if that's the case. Vortex really does struggle on one concept, is if your opponent doesn't have at least a couple Digimon board, you're not really doing much. You're just playing the game naturally, and it's very slow and grindy. So, but it definitely gets DP thresholds that you kind of want. It gets over Mother D Reaper and stuff like that once you hit those magic numbers, especially once you get into your megas. Then you have Daramon. Daramon is a blocker on deletion. You know, you may play one Digimon card with Avian, Bird, Vegetation, or Plant in any of its traits and 3000 DP or less from your hand without paying its cost. And then it's a Vegetation type. I think it's a pretty solid card, to be honest with you. I like that it's a rule text Vegetation type. It's very solid. So, might see maybe a one of tech in Bloomlord. Grand Galemon's definitely a tech against a lot of things. So it has an on-play when Digivolving. So suspend one Digimon. If this Digimon effect suspends your Digimon, you may play one Digimon with Avian, Bird, and any of its traits in 3000 DP or less from your hand without paying its costs. Grand Gale's just pretty decent. Grand Gale also has, when this Digimon attacks your opponent's Digimon, this Digimon may unsuspend. So this lets you multi-attack, and some decks, like even Bloomlord, I know I've said this multiple times, are teching this in as a very solid option to get multi-attacking with Bloomlord. So yeah, because Bloomlord can get in 2 extra attacks with piercing, it could OTK this way. So this card is actually becoming very universally strong, even though it's not a Vegetation for some decks, but being able to take in the account of Bloomlord and its ability to deal some massive damage, this is now great useful tech. Then we have Parrotmon. You know how long Parrotmon took to get into this game, guys? Ridiculous. And within a set and a half, we have like a set and like starters, we've gotten 2 Parrotmons, and it's cool. It's getting the love it needed. So on play, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon, then one of their Digimon can't unsuspend until the end of the turn, and then it has piercing. You know, really solid. I kind of wish this was a Jagras deck, because the DP boost plus the piercings would be fantastic to have on your stack. But the problem is you can't sneak any of these pieces in that you kind of need. So you're losing out on DP thresholds that you need, especially with your 11Ks. I mean, yeah, all turns, you know, it has an ability, but it's Vortex related. And then when Digivolving, suspend one Digimon, then unsuspend one Digimon. Allows to do some little shenanigans there, but all turns, when any Digimon unsuspend for the turn, this Digimon isn't affected by the effects of your opponent's Digimon and gets 3000 DP. So this is where the threshold kind of makes it 14. Very easy to get into big boys very comfortably. So, but definitely needs multiple pieces on board. Then we have 4 Eaglemon with Fortitude. Fortitude is just that on play when Digivolving, return one of your opponent's unsuspended Digimon to their hand. It's pretty solid actually. The Fortitude is really nice. Very combos nicely into a Fortitude deck in general. But the being able to return one of your opponent's suspended Digimon is huge, because bouncing removal is really nice. Then we have your Memory Tamer, Shotos. Shotos is basically, you know, when any of your Digimon attacks your opponent's Digimon by spending this tamer, you may change the attack target to another one of your opponent's Digimon or players. So allowing yourself to be able to attack in to choose between player and Digimon, especially when, you know, you choose to attack. Being able to redirect it where you want is huge. Then we have Anomia Embrace. So suspend one Digimon. If an effect suspends your Digimon, return one of your opponent's suspended Digimon to the bottom of the deck, then unsuspend one Digimon. Return one of your opponent's suspended Digimon to the bottom of the deck. Nice little decent removal, and it combos nicely with the Vortex's idealisms. Non-foil card, wish it was, but, you know, Green Mem Boost is Green Mem Boost. And then let's take a look. We got offensive training, we got mental training, we got physical training, agility training, defensive training, and wisdom. Same thing that happened with, you know, starter decks was that in JP, one was foiled, one wasn't. Now we have full foils here, which is really good. And it kind of gives you this feel of which one you like more, you kind of pick. I like that it's kind of, one is like physically trainers and stuff like that, and then the other ones are based on the combo between Taro and Shumon. So, you know, kind of gives you some decent choices on what ones you want to use. Some people will probably use this more because this was the foiled. If I remember correctly, these were the foils naturally. These were your choices for foils, and that was it. And then these guys were just non-foiled. And that was vitally important when it came down to it. But it's kind of cool that basically you get 2 sets, and you kind of, if you buy enough of these, you'll have a really solid playset of trainings because you need them. And I really like the idea and concept that the starter deck bridges you in nicely enough because it gives you at least 2 memory boosts to work with, and then you proceed from there. But guys, what do you think about these starter decks? Where you kind of place them? I think it's pretty cool to have these starter decks exist, but it doesn't always guarantee that they're going to do what you need. And same thing with the other one, it does come with the keyword facts guide. So guys, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll catch you next one. Peace.